Go, go, Power Rangers! Alright, so for a little bit of background before I actually get into reviewing the movie, yes, I was a fan of the original Power Rangers and everything going on, and I also realized, as a fan, the show sucks. I mean, it's fun to watch, and it's a nostalgia blast, but it's not a good show. Hate me all you want for saying that, but you know it's true. Now, when I first heard that they were doing a reboot, whatever, of Power Rangers, I was pretty sure this was going to be a bad idea. Then I saw the first trailer and went, oh, okay, this has a chance. And then I saw the second trailer and went, yes, please give it to me now. Well, Power Rangers is finally here, it's out, and how was it? It was fucking great! And that surprises me. Now, don't get me wrong, the movie has its issues, and I'll address those here in a minute, but let me talk about some of the strengths first. I gotta start with the main five of the cast. Wow. These actors blew me away. I did not expect this level of quality of acting out of a Power Rangers movie. Now, there's cheesy dialogue and some really bad lines, but the characters sell it, and they sell it well. Now, the two major standouts for me were the Red and Blue Ranger, Jayson and Billy respectively. Jayson is played by Dacre Montgomery, and honestly it was a little bit distracting at times because he's a spitting image of a young, more buff Zac Efron. And I mean more buff than the young Zac Efron, because have you seen him lately? Holy shit. And the Blue Ranger Billy is played by R.J. Cyler. I hope I said that right. Now, with the way R.J. portrayed Billy, I gotta give him props, because in the movie, Billy has autism. He's on the spectrum. But what really impressed me is how they handled it. It was done so delicately yet blunt that it wasn't... It's not a character defect for him. It's just a part of his character. And I have to applaud them for that, because most movies would demonize that. So I just gotta give them props where props are due, because they handled that well. They really did. I also gotta give a shout out to Bill Hader doing Alpha 5's voice. Honestly, from the show, I fucking hated Alpha 5. It's the most annoying character I have seen in a long time. Now, in the movie, I didn't hate him. I was shocked, because I expected fully to hate him, even if I loved the movie. And yeah, he could get annoying, but he was mainly used for comic relief, of course, and he was used pretty well. There were several parts that actually had me chuckling. So I definitely got to give a shout out to Bill Hader, who always does a good job whenever he does voiceovers. Now, for the strengths of the movie, like I said before, they handled their characters really well. The dynamic of the five main characters was great. Their chemistry was fantastic. They were believable. And yeah, they had a lot of stupid lines, but the way that they were sold by their actors, it was almost believable. And that's one thing that really blew me away, was that they could deliver something so cheesy, yet it didn't bother me. I knew it was cheesy, and I knew that nobody in real life would talk like that, but they sold it for me. Now, we spent a lot of time with the characters before they actually become Rangers, and some people may not like this. I really enjoyed it because it gave us a chance to learn more about the characters themselves before they were thrown into this situation. Learning about these characters gave us a chance to relate to these characters a lot more and find out everybody has their favorite Ranger, right? From the TV show, everybody had that one that they saw themselves in the most. And just as it was with the Ninja Turtles, just as it was with Sex and the City. Same case here. Everyone's very different, but also similar enough to where their chemistry isn't negatively affected. So yes, some might be annoyed that it's your standard superhero origin story or whatever, but the way that the characters were developed, I didn't mind. I like a good origin story as long as it's not the same thing over and over again. And we gotta talk about Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa. She wasn't bad. I'm not going to say that she was bad because she was great. I think the problem was that the way she played Rita Repulsa, it didn't match the tone of the movie at all. She was practically ripped straight from the 90s cartoon, and the movie's not that same kind of camp. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of campy stuff in the movie, and it's a good mix of that campiness and, you know, the modern era grittiness. Thankfully, it doesn't go full Fantastic Four. They managed to find that nice little mid-gray area and stay in there, and I'm really quite thankful for that, because I think If they had gone with the 90s camp, I would have hated this movie. If they had gone with, going full Fantastic Four, I would have definitely hated this movie. But this sits in the nice mid area to where you can see parts of both, the grittiness or, the modern superhero storytelling and pieces of the 90s action, camp, whatever, what have you. Now, the problem with Rita Repulsa is that she was far too off on the camp end. I don't mind camp. I love camp. It's got to be done right and delicately, especially when you're straddling that line. And I'm not saying anything against her performance. It just felt like she was in a different movie than the rest of the actors were. And I understand what she was trying to do there, trying to encapsulate the soul of the 90s show. But it didn't work out too well. But because the team dynamic is so good and this is more about them as characters growing, that's why I still love this movie, even though the villain isn't that great. Now, I'm not going to get into any kind of spoiler territory, but really, Krispy Kreme? Really? 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 You know Krispy Kreme paid the big bucks. You know they did. It is the most important product placement I have ever seen in a movie. I can't even begin to, really? Now, the insanely thinly veiled product placement and the extremely campy Rita Repulsa aside, I loved this movie. I loved it. And when it comes to the cinematography, I'm not sure. It feels like there was two different cinematographers working on this movie. I don't know if this is true or not. This is what the movie felt like. Because there are certain points where it's shot so well, and you're just like, wow, that looks amazing. And there are other times where you're just like, oh my god, what are you doing? Stop. Luckily, the latter doesn't happen often enough to ding it down to the point where I hate the movie. But there are certain scenes where I'm just like, I'm probably going to skip them when I get it on Blu-ray. Now, I can't really go any further without getting into spoiler territory, but I will say, to summarize, that I loved the movie, that the main five of the cast were fantastic. Rita Repulsa, Elizabeth Banks was a little out of place as far as just being super campy in this a little bit more gritty reboot. Most of the movie's extremely well shot, and I really enjoyed the story, although it was a little bit cliche. Your standard superhero origin kind of thing. But all of that, plus the nostalgia, builds it up to be something a lot greater than I expected. And so for short, I'm going to give this movie an A-. It was great. It was a lot better than I expected. Thank you for watching my Power Rangers movie review, and this is the first time I've done a movie review. I love Power Rangers so much, and I'm hearing so much hate that I had to get my voice in there and say how much I loved it. And I'm not really going to do a spoiler video. I may do it in the future if these movie reviews are received well. I want to start doing them more and more often. I've been wanting to do them for over a year now, so this movie finally got me off my ass to do it. And like I said before, I highly recommend Power Rangers. Go see it, please. Especially if you're on the fence about it. Decide for yourself. What did you think about the Power Rangers movie? There's a comment section down there. Tell me. Let's chat back and forth. What did you like about it? What did you hate about it? Are you excited to see it if you haven't seen it yet? Thank you for tuning into this review, and until next time, you all stay sexy out there. Excuse me. It's 80 degrees out there, so that means it's probably about 85 in here. It's hot.